What's up guys, it's Shana and welcome to another episode of the iherng podcast, and today we will answer some questions from Instagram. This one is from Alice. Hi Sean, I am Alice, been watching your videos since after finals around May, and I want to thank you for making such valuable content. Learned a lot. Currently, I'm a fresh grad who just started working in KL. I am from Semenyih and I drive to work daily. Currently, the traffic is still okay, but I expect it to be worse when the COVID situation is over. So I had researched about the renting price around my office. But the price is just insane for a fresh grad. A studio rental is at least 1,200, which took up almost half of my salary. My ideal place is to rent M Suites in Jalan Ampang because it is walking distance to my office. If I rent further away, let's say Pavilion Hill near Tar University College, it means that I have to drive and pay the expensive parking fees. Maybe it is quite weird to ask an investor like you, but are there any strategies to search for cheaper rental rooms? And how would you advise? Rent a little bit further and drive there, or rent near and walk? Would appreciate any insight from your side. Thank you so much. Regards, Alice. So thank you very much, Alice, for the DM. And yes, this is pretty weird to ask an property investor, but I guess how to be a property investor also includes the understanding of being a tenant. So I really appreciate your DM because it illustrates several points. Number one, it proves that job opportunity directly equals to high rental demand. As you say, you stay in Semenyih and you travel to Ampang. Now it's bearable because of the partial lockdown. Suddenly when everything's open up, right, we are back to square one, traffic jam and all already. Maybe better a little bit from working from home culture adoption, but generally that's the case. So for fresh grad, unfortunately the starting pay maybe 2.5 to 3.2, 3.5, right? And a studio unit of 1,002, it's really expensive, almost half of it. Which leads to the second point, the upcoming trend of room rentals. So now, a lot of people are doing it, which is to do multiple partitions within a unit. Especially for property investors, right? We always gotta know who's the potential tenant. And it's always best to have multiple types of tenant groups. For example, working class people, then maybe students, then maybe young graduates, then maybe families, and bachelors. All these will have different types of needs. And for your type, you demonstrated that you need only space. It's best to have certain level of privacy based on affordability, right? Therefore, if you observe property typologies around CBD areas, around locations that is abundant in job opportunities, right? The units tend to have similar trends, which is very small units, right? 400, 500 can be a unit where the rental can be maybe 1,600 to 1,008, right? And it can host a couple, so if both couple actually works in KL, it makes a lot of sense. One person less than 1,000. Or you have a 3-bedroom that is partitioned into 4 to 5 bedrooms and then to be rented out room by room. And the cool term they are naming all these right now would be like co-living or co-working or cohabitant or whatsoever lah. Basically, it's just like the olden days. We just rent out room by room lah. The next point to mention would be the strategy of living in a TOD then. For example, you need to drive to work every day, right? So now in between that option versus you staying in M Suites, it's an extreme of either you drive, right? You spend a lot of time and you spend a lot of money on car parks, but you get flexibility to drive around. But a lot of time are just wasted on traffic jams lah, generally. The second one is to stay immediately next to your office. So it will compromise your lifestyle because you don't get that mobility as much. But basically, if your clock in time is 9 o'clock, you can wake up at 8:30. So that's a benefit, right? But to me, I will always pick time. So with more time in hand, I get to achieve a lot more things using the time. So just for discussion, if I continue to stay in Semenyih, I need to wake up 6 o'clock. Just to clock in at 9 o'clock in KL. A lot of people then choose to wake up 8:30 to go to work at 9 because they stay nearer. But to me, I would choose to wake up at 6 as well to refine my skill sets or to prepare my day better before I go to work. So I get to perform better, I get to brush up my skills way better, I get to hang out with my colleagues longer because I just stay nearby. But to me, I will always pick the middle route. If I'm in your shoes, I will do these two things lah. Number one is to look for old landed houses around Ampang with a master room for rental. So it means you can go and rent a master bedroom for maybe 700 to 800 instead of 1,002 for a studio. But you still need to drive to work. But this means you save a lot of time, a lot of energy, just that the cost might be double because you need to pay for rent and car park at the same time. But ultimately, I still prefer having a car because mobility is very important for me. Like, let's say if I want to work part-time as a Grab driver at night, or if I want to start delivering stuff, or if I want to meet people, or if I want to meet clients, if I have a freelance job, having a car is really very convenient. That typical Malaysian mindset lah. Another way would be to get a master bedroom in a bigger unit. For example, you can look for room rentals or co-living spaces. So instead of having the whole unit to yourself, you will need to share sometimes the toilet, sometimes the dining, sometimes the kitchen. But you get to save a lot more. Instead of 1,200, maybe a room is 500-600. You get your privacy, but the budget is still within your affordability. Another idea I had, which is to rent a place that is connected to the LRT. And the first location in mind would be Wangsa Maju because there's just a lot of students. Therefore, the prices of things will be more affordable and you can take the train every day to Ampang. Just that if your office is next to MCT, it means the closest LRT station would be Jelate or Ampang Park. But Ampang Park, you need to drive the entire stretch of Jalan Ampang. I don't think so, so Jelate. And this indirectly illustrates a very big discussion in property world today, which is the last mile. So people usually measure distance, right, from door to door. Your door of your residence to the door of your office. So car currently is the mode of transportation that brings you the closest from door to door. The next cleaner, more efficient transportation would be LRT or MRT. Unfortunately, that relies heavily on the location. So for example, your office is nowhere close or connected to any station, right? Unfortunately, after you reach the nearest LRT station, there's still a distance. They call it the last mile. And why Grab is so popular? Because it directly solves this problem. Then you have the e-scooter, you have the bicycle, the foldable bicycle. Skateboarding, unfortunately not as popular, but this will be the next big thing to resolve in Malaysia. And if you see in the startup land, a lot of companies are actually trying to resolve this last mile issue. But the challenge has always been the climate of Malaysia because it involves rain and extreme heat. So either one happen, right, I will still reach the office in a very wet condition. So in conclusion, out of so many options, right, I would personally recommend to look for a landed house around for rental and you take up the master bedroom only. So it's maybe around 700 to 800 around the area. But you can be a little bit further, so it's going to be a little bit cheaper, but you have a car. So it's going to be maybe 700 above your car park. I think car park is going to be around 300 a month. So plus the room rental is going to be 1,000 a month. But to me, I look that as an investment to opportunities because you being now so close to your work area, and that gives you ample amount of opportunities to meet people, to do more gigs, to learn stuff. I don't go and play too much because being next to the CBD, a lot of place to party also. Use that distance to your advantage. Use those extra time to your advantage. Now you don't have to worry so much about OT because after OT, driving back home is a 5 minutes drive or a 10 minutes drive. But now the setback is that you have the extra cost and you don't have facilities lah. So like high rise, you got a swimming pool and gym, or landed house, don't need lor, but you do your own lah. And I think that's all for this episode. Very weird question. I hope I answered, but your question directly brought up a lot of real estate related issues, and I think that's all. And for those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram iherng, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.